I got arrested for the murder of the 15-year-old. It had nothing to do with me. I'm a Peckham Boy. Peckham Boy is sort of the name everyone sort of known around London. Now I'm part of this team, so I feel confident. I'm going to school telling people, yeah, I'm part of the Peckham Boys now. It ended with me spending 8 years of my life in jail. My friends who were the nerds, my friends who just didn't get involved in gangs, who just lived a legitimate life, they all bought their houses. They all go on holiday, they all married, they all had their children, they all lived a good life, they didn't go to prison. Yeah. They got their mortgages and so on.
I think that we've been trained to think a certain way.
Exercise patience and look at the bigger picture. That's the things that we want things right now.
Because this is something we got to talk about, because there's enough man out there struggling to break the cycle. How do they break the cycle, B? Welcome to another edition of the Dr Prince Show, and I'm your host, Dr Prince OBE. And just for you, our very special viewers, we have a very special guest. In my eyes, a motivational, inspirational individual. That's just what communities need, role models. Guys that can turn their life around and do not allow their past to define their future. Welcome with me, Bobby Kasanga.
Thank you for having me, man.
Beautiful to have you on board, bro. Seriously, thank you for accepting the invitation.
No, I appreciate it, man.
I just want to ask you, you're a boxing fan?
Not as much as I should be. I had a bad experience. I remember looking forward, I think it was Bruno Tyson or Tyson Holyfield. I can't remember who it was, but I know it was Tyson. I think it was 97. I went to go and watch Batman Forever in Peckham Cinema. Going back and I got knocked over by a car. And
how old?
I think I was 10, 11, I think.
What?
At the time. Yeah, I got knocked over by a car.
And you're out getting pictures? Really, bro? Oh my gosh.
So it wasn't something that where it was...
I was not allowed out.
Like, terrible, but I got in trouble for actually being out at the time when I was supposed to be back earlier on. Okay. So I was not allowed to watch the fight that night. So at those times where I think the fight was maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, because that's Las Vegas. Okay. And yeah, after that, I kind of fell out of love with boxing, but I still watched the big fights. When I hear everyone's tuning in, I still watch it. But more and more people are getting into boxing now, and I see a lot of my friends that I grew up with are boxing now as well. So, yeah.
So what era are you in? Where would you put yourself?
What area I was born?
What era?
Oh yeah, the Tyson, Holyfield, Bruno.
90s?
90s, that's when I used to really watch it. You're watching the big heavyweights. After that, a little bit of the Nassim, Prince Nassim Hamed. Okay. A bit of that, but after that, nothing so much until I guess Anthony Joshua came to the scene, and it was sort of like Mandem, like people that you can see from the Olympics. So you start, okay, yeah, we've got a few more sort of black faces that we know that are our own ages, so you start to support that the way.
So you reckon like during your time, it wasn't kind of boxing was waning a little bit, do you think?
Yeah, I think, I mean...
It weren't the main topic of conversation between you and your brethren?
Yeah, like I remember, there wasn't any real heavyweights that you can kind of relate to. It was the Klitschko's were sort of running the heavyweights for ages, and that's what I normally used to like. And I guess you had sort of Ricky Hatton, but there wasn't people who looked like us that much that I was seeing out there, so I couldn't really relate to it. But now when you see Wilder, you're seeing Anthony Joshua, you're thinking, okay, that's Mandem, let's give it support sort of thing, yeah.
That's really interesting, you know, just hearing that, because obviously I grew up in the era where boxing was everything. Like, that was a main sport. Everyone talked about the fighters going on, Marvin Hagler, Hitman, Sugar Ray Leonard, all them man throughout the 80s, and were just smashing it. So
I think also it used to be free on ITV. I remember watching boxing on ITV. So Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn, I remember seeing that fight as a young kid. But after that, like, it went to pay-per-view. So unless you're gonna pay your £20, I wasn't really doing that at my age anyway. My parents weren't really big boxing fans, so unless they're gonna go and pay for it, it wasn't really a thing where
so it put more money in the boxing game, but it took away like
the everyday
fans.
Everyday fans who can't really watch it,
I got you, I feel you, man. So we can't talk about boxing being an influence in your life, you know, as fighting and being on the streets and all that. No. What were you like on that scene, like just fighting and defending yourself?
I was never a troublemaker, but I could hold my own. Okay. So I'm quite a big lad, but even those days I wasn't so much bigger. I was a bit more slim. But it was more so the reputation that my brother had, which sort of kind of helped me move along. So people wouldn't trouble me on the back of who he was, basically. So I wasn't a fight. I probably in school I probably had about 2 or 3 fights, if that. But then we'll do silly stuff like going to fight other neighborhoods. Like things we're trying to talk kids against now. When you're young, you don't even see the influences of the older peers or the people that encourage these things. So now looking, you almost feel like a hypocrite telling these kids, don't do that, don't do this. But we kind of done it with such excitement, not knowing the consequences that come with those things.
And you were really gassed about it at the time, innit?
Yeah. I remember, we're going to Ghetto, that's like Lewisham. We're going to Ghetto, we're going to go and fight the Ghetto Boys. Or we're going to West End, let's go and fight the Brixton Boys. And as a young person, you're thinking, but you're not realizing people are actually dying from these things. Like, then you start realizing, oh, this is actually serious. Wow. And I think with a lot of these young people now, it's got to the point that where these things that started with people 30, 40 years ago, who nothing to do with them, they just inherited it. And no one's even seeing the basically had this disease is being passed on.
Wow. That's deep, Bobby.
Yeah, man.
You know, because it's just making me realize I was watching an old school clip with Tupac and, you know, all these different rappers that was around at the time. And I didn't realize the power of how much they influenced me and how I saw the world and how I wanted to shape my world. Yeah. Because the way that music videos portrayed these guys and portrayed their lifestyle, you couldn't help but it becoming tantalizing to you. Definitely. And you kind of wanting to recreate that lifestyle in your own life. Definitely. And then when you look at the youths now, as you said, you kind of feel away a bit like a hypocrite because you're talking to them about stuff, but it's only because you've realized now. But they're actually going through the same thing you went through. Yeah. And we always speak a lot in hindsight. So I'm trying to say, through my hindsight, through my experience, can I give these young people foresight so they can see before, look at the mistakes I've made. Is look at I say it all the time, I've got more than 20 friends who have been killed in Peckham and Southwark. And that's no word of a lie. I can start naming all of them, 20 friends who have been killed. That's crazy. When you really think about it, 20 people that you grew up with as a young person who have been killed in the streets. That's deep. So if I can tell these kids, look, it's not worth it, don't do it. Yeah. You end up, and I got not just 20 friends who have been killed, but another 10 or so friends who are in prison, doing life in prison for the stuff that they done on the streets. Yeah. So I remember being in Belmarsh and seeing grown men cry. Like, why are you crying? What happened? I went to court today. The judge gave me 35 years. Like, I just turned 35 last week. I literally turned 30. You're telling me you're going to do I feel like I lived a long time. You're telling me you're going to do my whole lifetime in prison. That was enough for me. Murder cases and life sentence scared me. Being in prison, when I was in prison, those things scared me. So that made me realize, you know what? That's something I couldn't even wish my worst enemy. Let's take it back then, B, because you know, people listening to you for the first time are gonna hear you talking about life sentence and getting in trouble, and we're talking about youths and all of that. But let's give them some of the journey. You know, when it all began. You know, when was it good? When was things where you wasn't heading in that direction? You know, up to what age, and why was it good, and why hadn't you been kind of veering yourself into trouble? I think up until year 9, I was sort of very innocent. I knew the world, I knew what was going on, I knew my brother was involved, but my passion was football. I lived, breathed, dreamed football. I remember, I don't even remember in sort of when I started playing football or realizing I was good, but I just remember one day, my brother was in year 5 and I was in year 3, and he had a football training after school. Yeah. But we had to go home together. And lucky for me that day, there was a number short. So the manager, Mr. Steve Underwood, said, oh, yeah, you can go and play. So I played, and I'm like, oh my God, you're so good. I remember feeling so gassed up about that. I'm like, oh, I'm good at football. Yeah. So went home, can I buy a football? And then by year 4, I'm playing in the year 6 team with my brother. So I was like, I represent the Southwark County. So I was thinking, yeah, this is my dream, this is my ambition, I'll be a footballer. That's all I cared about. I supported Blackburn Rovers, the top team at the time as well. Yeah. And my whole dream was... What area was you playing football? Where was you living? Peckham, South London, So I represented the county, so I'm one of the best players in that, in my age group. What was Peckham like at the time?
for me being young, I grew up in a Gloucester estate, which is sort of very notorious estate. But I don't remember it being bad. Looking back now, like, whoa. But when you're a kid and you're young, you're just innocent. You don't see what's going on. You don't see the guy there selling drugs. You don't see the guys with their knives. You're just playing football, kicking around with your friends. So it's very innocent for me. Until that transition, and I always say it's very important, that transition from year 6 into year 7. When you're in year 6, you're the king of the jungle, you're innocent, you're just playing football, they might be playing kiss chase and so on. You go to year 7, all of a sudden now, you're in the big world because you're mixing with 16-year-olds and you're being influenced by them. Everyone wants to sort of be cool like the older kids. Everyone wants the older kids to sort of take to them. So when you're in year 7, you're sort of, oh, okay, I need to be like this, I need to be like that. And then that was what started influencing me. But at the same time, I didn't take the full step. I was still wanting to play my football. My brother was under reputation, but it wasn't until year 9, there was an incident where the Peckham Boys, my age group, all just hang around. I used to see them, I knew a couple of faces, but I kept to myself. One of them tried to rob my hat. When he tried to come over to rob my hat, the others who knew me, like, what are you doing? That's Carly's little brother, you can't do that. They're like, oh, we didn't even know you're his little brother. Oh, you're one of us now. Literally, that's how I was recruited into the gang. They said, you're one of us now. So every day now after school, I'm hanging out with them. But before that, life was beautiful, life was good, life was innocent.
Okay, so break it down to us. What happens just because he says you're one of us now? He doesn't control your movements, your mind and what you do. So how do you really become one of them? What did you willingly do?
Because these are the cool guys. These are the cool kids. These are the people that you're hearing their names. These are the people the girls like. So if you're saying I'm one of you guys, yeah, damn right I'm one of you guys.
So
now.
You're happy about that?
I'm happy about that. Because like before, I'm just like, okay, cool, those guys look cool, but I don't know how to approach them. I'm just gonna keep myself. But when incidents happen where one of them tried to rob me and I realized, oh no, you're actually someone's brother, you're one of us, now I'm part of the team. So every day, instead of me walking past now, I'm chilling with them. I'm hanging around with them. So it starts off innocently, right? We'll just...
This about your confidence? Does this raise your self-esteem or your
100%,
self-confidence?
100%. Because now I'm a Peckham Boy. Peckham Boy is sort of the name everyone's sort of known around London. Now I'm part of this team. So I feel confident. I'm going to school telling people, yeah, I'm part of the Peckham Boys now. I'm excited. Like now all of a sudden you're getting a bit more attention as well. So you feel good. So
really what you're saying is, in the ends, we've got a mentality of celebrating evil.
100%.
Because you're not feeling good because you've joined a set of guys with this great reputation of helping out in their community, looking after people. There are a set of guys that will take stuff from people.
Yeah, 100%.
By any means necessary. And you're feeling gassed that you're now a part of this, and it's boosted your self-esteem, it's boosted your confidence.
100%. And we see it, I mean, not to go so far in the future, but we see it now, is that when someone gets released from prison, you will see the videos on YouTube, on Instagram, where his friends go to pick him up, they're popping bottles, they're popping champagne because he's just been released from prison. But what he done to go to prison, we're not even thinking about that.
Yes.
In the same instant, when you see someone go to graduate, there's no one there except his family. No one's there at the graduation except his family. But when he's been released from prison, you've got everyone there. And what's his name? Tricky spoke about this on his podcast one day, and that's the truth of it. We celebrate badness. Yeah. We don't celebrate the good that people do.
I just want to highlight that because I think it's important. As we're talking, Bobby, we're saying the things that we didn't realize when we were coming up. So I want youths that are listening to this to realize. Yeah. My whole mission is like to get people to wake up. Yeah. You know, be awoke. Don't just continue life following the cultures, trends, and the environment. You know, what's in. It'd be beautiful if people could start using this powerful thing they got called the brain to actually think about what they're doing, question, because you never stopped for 1 minute to question what you were doing and who you were following.
Peer pressure is intoxicating. I say this nearly most of my interviews I've been on. There is no greater influence on someone's life than your peers. Wow. More so than your parents, more so than religion at times, right? Wow. Because you can come and tell me as my father, right? Be home at 7 p.m. Make sure you're home at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
I feel okay. I feel like, oh come on, man, 20 minutes more, man, 20 minutes more. We're all kind of here now, and that excitement is the fear of missing out, the fear of missing out, the fear of not being part of what will happen is that will make you stay out till 9 p.m. Then you accept the consequences that will come with that when you get home. Who told you? But at least you enjoy that moment with your friends. So that peer pressure is so intoxicating. It's what, that pull is so strong. It's like gravity, it's so strong.
Plus, it's about how you look to your friends.
Yes.
So adding on to the power of peer pressure, you don't want to look a certain way.
Yeah, you don't, oh, he's not allowed that, then in school everyone's laughing at you. He has to be home at 7 p.m.
Trust.
So you're thinking, I'd rather take the beats at home than the embarrassment of my friends laughing at me.
Okay, they wouldn't be deciding that if they was at from my house.
Yeah.
Trust me, bro. They would. Listen, bro, it weren't even about, it was like, here's what time you gotta get home, get home. Like, no one wants bits of their skin getting torn off when they're getting their beats. Everyone can handle a beating. Well, not everyone can handle where the beating you get takes skin off.
Okay, wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when it's on that level, okay, get home, I'm getting home.
Yeah.
So I didn't care that people knew at my school that my dad was just like rags and didn't ramp. Even my sister's friends, her male friends, feared my dad.
Okay.
Didn't want to be seen near my sister. And my dad was walking up the road, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think it's about that fear factor that you got with your parents too. You know, and I'm not saying parents got to do what my dad's madness, but having some sort of level of that respect at home and knowing that my parents are running things and maybe not beatings, but there should be consequences when your children ain't listening.
Yeah.
And I think it is hard for parents, isn't it?
It's very hard now.
Find
It's very hard.
that balance with their youth.
Because we live in the UK, right? Being African, like, I kind of looked at beats. I look back at the beats kind of fondly, like, oh yeah, I understand what they're trying to do now. Personally now, I got 2 girls, I couldn't ever put my hands on them because, I don't know, I just got this, I don't know. I just got, one of them, the youngest one, she's 3 years old, and she's a nightmare at the moment. She's gonna be 3 in September, she's got the terrible 2, she's a nightmare at the moment. But I can never, ever justify it in a certain way, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
But living in the UK makes you have to try to work out your discipline and how you can, because yes, you can be the authoritarian, don't do this, don't do that, and sometimes it makes the kids rebel. You can try and be the nice, friendly, but sometimes they take it too far. So it's being a parent in this day and age, it's very hard.
Tough.
It's very hard, it's tougher. And I speak to parents all the time who message me like, what can I do to prevent my son getting in this? He's not listening, he's talking back to me.
How old are your children now?
My children, one's gonna be 13 this month in 17 days, and the other's gonna be 3 in September. So I've got 2.
What difference are you as a parent to the 13-year-old that what's changing now with the 3-year-old? What have you grown and kind of learned?
I mean, with the 13-year-old, it was different because she was born while I was in prison.
Okay.
So I didn't meet her proper. I mean, I met her, she's come on visits and everything, but to build a relationship really started when she was 6 years old. So there wasn't that sort of, I'm around you every single day. And she's intelligent, clever, at school, top marks everywhere, apart from science. She's struggling a little bit in science, but everything else, amazing. One of her issues, probably she gets it from me, too chatty in class, and I keep telling her about that. Sometimes her discipline goes way where she's got detention the last few times, and it's like, okay, we know what you like doing, so we remove it. You like you being on your phone, TikTok, no phone for a month. That regulates her behavior. Oh, your friends want to go out for the weekend, you're not allowed to go now. So that's kind of how we regulate parenting with her. With the youngest one, because I was there from the very get-go, from when in the stomach, coming out and watching her first steps and so it's quite different in regards to I'm seeing every single step and I'm seeing when she's trying to be naughty, because I'm kind of good cop, whereas mum is sort of bad cop. Mum is like, no, don't give her any sweets, don't. And I'm like, okay, when mum goes, I'll get you a sweetie. Sort of thing. so things like that. So, but I need to be a bit more like mum in terms of being strict with her, because she knows she can get away with stuff.
Because she'll play you both.
Yeah.
She'll play you like a fiddle, bro.
Yeah. So
I need
to be a bit more like mum on that. But she's just like, She's just so infectious to me, so I can't. But at the same time, I know that I need to start putting the discipline in place from now.
Now, bro.
From now, because I know further on the line, I'll be like, why was I strict?
Trust me. Now, people don't realise that when children are little, they all leave them, they're only little, but they're locked in from 1 to 3. They've learned so much, they're locked in.
100%.
Kids ain't stupid, they know what time it is. They understand body language, they understand moods, they understand when to try and get what they want. And we got to realise that from 1 to 3 is really, really important, that we have a level of understanding with our young people, that they at least know that mum and dad, when they say something, they follow it through. They don't just talk, and there's nothing happens.
100%.
They'll follow it through. But I don't want to come off this journey that you're out from a young man, because it's so interesting. So you're up to year 9. You've kind of got your thing, you're rolling, and then you have one incident that for you is pivotal because it's life-changing. Because you start moving with the olders and you feel great about moving with them, despite the fact that even though you haven't realised it then, you've signed up to moving with guys that have a mindset that's quite negative. It's not trying to help you develop into a great man. It's to join them doing the negativity that they're on in their own community as well, that they say they're repping their ends from. So what kind of things did you find yourself doing from moving on from primary to secondary that you would have never have thought you'd be involved in doing in primary school?
The first thing was we used to rub mopeds. We used to barrel peds, as they call it back in the day. You used to get a screwdriver, you pull out the sort of where the ignition is, take it out, and then you can start the moped. So that's what one of the things we used to go and do.
And who taught you that?
The guys I was with. The guys I was with. So we're like, we're going over there. So at the beginning I was kind of looking out. Then they'll come up with a ped and I'll jump on the ped. And I'm like, okay, how do we do our own one? So we started doing it ourselves as well. And then it just grew from that into street robberies. Then I actually remember, then I spoke about this before, that I was against the street robberies before, because I don't know, I'm assuming everyone has a conscience, right, when you're doing bad. I was like, should we be doing this? So people be robbing someone, they'll say, yo, what's your phone? Pass your phone. And I'll be there to act as muscle, but I always feel bad for the person. I look at them and think,
really?
Then what would happen was that they'll go and sell those phones, and then everyone's got 40, 50 pounds, they go to JD, buy the new trainers, and I'm still there with my old crusty, rusty trainers. So I got to a point that where I'm like, I have to join in. So I remember the first person I robbed, I remember my friend broke his glasses, because I robbed him. I wasn't even convincing him how I robbed him. I'm like, yo, let me see your phone. Then the guy's following us around, I'm like, go away, I'm gonna bring back your phone, go away. He's like, no, give me back my phone. And then my friend's like, look, you're making this bait. So my friend ended up punching him, and the guy dropped on the floor, broke his glasses. I remember looking back at him, and I was so sad. I was so sad looking back, and I'm like, wow, is this what I'm really doing? And then I remember later on at home, I cried because of that whole situation. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is not really me. It feels quite forced that I'm doing this. And then maybe like after a year, I remember I got arrested for robbery. And after when I got arrested, my dad gave me the beating of my life. And after that, you know, I'm not doing these street robberies no more. But it went from those doing street robberies to security van robberies, which was sort of on a bigger scale now.
A bigger level.
Yeah.
That's really interesting how you're talking about the struggle of the spirit. What's going on inside you? Your spirit is telling you, this ain't right. I ain't feeling this, bruv. This is not you are. And what do you go and do? Fight against it and force it and push through, continuing to do evil instead of listening to your righteous conscience that's saying to you, I'm not about this life. This ain't me. You didn't take pleasure in when you see him on the floor smiling like, yeah, stay there, I love this. You didn't.
No.
Your conscience said it's wrong.
And this is where the second part of the influence comes in. So peer pressure is the first one. After that, financial influence. But like I said, now my friends who are doing robberies, they're coming back, sell the phones, and they're buying things in JD, the new Nike trackies, the new Adidas trainers, so once all these things happen, I'm like, I need finance. Wow. And these guys are getting it like that. So first was the peer pressure, now it's the financial pressures that to keep up with what everyone else is wearing. Because then everyone's going out, you don't want to be the butt of the jokes. Everyone's laughing. Oh, look at these trainers. Look at that. So that's the next part of it as well.
Amazing. So the need to keep up with the look and the lifestyle. So if you had a different vision that was like, I want to be a homeowner, would that have led for you to not be focused on things, trainers, your look? That would have led for you to be focused on something else, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. As young people, I'm not even thinking about owning a home. We just live for the there and now. Like, oh, we're doing these robberies, want to buy the latest trainers, latest gears. You're not thinking even long term. And the funny thing is now, when I go into schools, I always talk to them. I say, you know what? My friends who were the nerds, my friends who just didn't get involved in gangs, who just lived a legitimate life, they all bought their houses. They all go on holiday, they all married, they all had their children, they all lived a good life, they didn't go to prison.
Yeah.
They got their mortgages and so on. All that cool kids who were all about this life and knew that, a lot of them dead, in prison or struggling. Maybe one or two have got away and gone clear.
Yeah.
One or two.
Wow.
The rest are working sort of menial jobs that they probably wouldn't have wanted to, had the ambition and dreams for them.
Yes.
They've had to settle because they didn't get that qualification, that education that they needed. So when I go now, I think to myself, I told kids, our motto with Hackney Wick Football Club is think outside the blocks.
Easy.
Think outside the blocks. So think bigger than your environment. Think bigger than these little trainers you're getting. Think of being a homeowner. Think of being a business owner. Think of changing the world.
Think of selling the trainers instead of wearing their brand.
There you go. So all those things there. So yeah, you, as you said back to your question, had my thinking been, you know what, I want to be a homeowner one day and so on, maybe my mindset would be different. But I always kind of thought I'll do all those things through football. But being with the gangs, I wasn't really concentrating on my football as much. I wasn't pushing it. I was like, you know what, we're going to do a robbery, that's bringing me money now. The football can wait. It's
amazing then, because you're telling me, as you got involved with these guys, it was almost like the good focus and the negative focus couldn't reside in the same place. One force had to be a leading force over the other. And without you actually making a decision, it ended up being the negative force.
And it's funny because this is probably pushing on the story a little bit more, but there's an incident where my friend had been killed, right? And the previous day we'd all met and they was all planning to go and do a robbery. But I was making my debut for Ashford Town Middlesex versus Folkestone in a Ram and Prem. I was 20 years old. And literally they had planned to do the robbery on that Saturday, but I'm like, nah, I'm making my debut, I can't go. And while doing the robbery, incidents happened where my friend's being killed.
So, on the robbery, bro?
Yeah, after the robbery, or proceeds of the money. So people were arguing over the proceeds of the money. So now I'm on a team bus and I'm getting a phone call that, yo, this is happening, I think he's dying. So I'm hearing live that my friend's eyes are closed, that he's dying. So now I'm in a team bus and I think I'm only one of two black players in the whole team, and we're on a coach heading to Folkestone. So this is a different world to what I'm used to. So I can't even bring, so now I brought my outside world into the team because I'm crying now. I'm in a bit of hysterics, like, and people ask me, what's going on? And these guys don't know nothing about murders and stabbings and so on. They're thinking, who's this guy that we allowed on our bus? What's this about?
Bro. So you kept quiet.
So I'm crying because I'm hearing that my friends dying. So I'm on the coach, like thinking, wow, like so I'm crying, I'm in tears, and they ask me, the manager comes to me, are you okay? What's going on? Can I explain the situation? My friend's being stabbed, and mind you, remember I'm making my debut today. So is that, do you play the game? They're not just gonna drop me off on the middle of the motorway to sort of go home. So we have to go to the game. Is that, look, if you feel like playing, play. At this point, there's no word that he's died yet. So it's like, you know what? Let me concentrate on the match. Let me try to put my focus on the match. We lost the game 3-1. I played the game. As soon as I come off.
How'd you play?
I played all right. Made my debut. I played up front. Came off maybe the 6th or 7th minute or so. And after the match, feeling all right. But then sort of the memory comes back. I'm like, oh damn, let me put my phone back on. Missed calls and messages. Yeah, he passed. So it's like what you're saying earlier, the two worlds, the positive is there. The positive is there of what you want to do, and then the negative of your lifestyle is still catching up with you. And then within a month of that incident, I was in jail for
Within a month?
Within a month of that incident, I was in jail.
Okay, so there's a few things, there's loads of stuff that's come up here. One of the stuff that's come up is these are the things that are still happening today. Yeah. There's young men in your situation playing both sides of the field, and the predominant one is the negative and the peers, and that's what's drawing them over to that side. What would you say to a young man like that, just struggling in between, Bobby?
Exercise patience, and look at the bigger picture. There's the things that we want things right now. And I just made an example. I said my friends who were patient, who were sort of the nerds in school, who didn't sort of need and have the latest things that they needed right now, I have later on got all those things, all those dreams and ambitions, because they stayed with the positive. They didn't get involved with the negative. So that's why I say exercise patient. I can't tell you any other of my friends who are doing this road life who are gone and being successful. I mean, I could say one who wasn't that much involved in road life, but he owns one of the biggest football agencies in the UK. I can say one, I can say maybe another who owns a few shops and that as well. But besides that, there's not too many. So it's all about their patience. And that's what we don't see. We want these trainers, we want it now. We don't want to save up to go and buy them. We want to do something that will make us some money to get it now. And then also, I will never ever put women as an excuse for it. A lot of times people want to look good because of the women. And you want to sort of, okay, let me look cool, because women will like that. And sometimes when I speak to the girls as well, I say, girls, it's also your fault, partly because you guys love a bad boy. You don't want to give James the chance, the good kid who just going about it. You like the bad boy, and then the bad boys feel they need to be bad because that's going to attract the girls. But at the same time, it's everyone's mindset, so I can't go and blame women. So before I get attacked, it's not women's fault, but I'm saying they play a part because they also are attracted to the bad boys and people want to play up to that image.
I often do talks at girls' schools and address this issue, but I do it in a way where I do it so positive they feel like they can be a part of the solution and not the problem. And the solution is, don't be making the bad boys the guys that you chase after. Because what you're saying to them is, this is the person to be. And you're letting even the good guys look and say, well, all the bad boys are getting the girls. So the way to get the girls is to do this. As you said, we're sending out the wrong message. And if girls have self-esteem, self-confidence about themselves, they're gonna want somebody who's well-balanced, who isn't being negative, who's got a mindset to achieve, use their potential. They'll be attracted to that because they have that within themselves. And I think that, a lot of our young girls maybe are attracted to what's in them. That they lack self-esteem, they lack confidence, but it shows up in a different way. They've got daddy issues, but it shows up in a different way, and it shows up with them chasing after the very same kind of men that they actually don't need in their life. But it's been modeled by their hurt and things that are missing in young ladies' lives. And a lot of young ladies I speak to have got daddy issues. I want to be loved, I want to feel loved, I want to feel appreciated, and haven't been taught how to develop that within themselves. Because everything's within you, isn't it, B? You had to find you, and it was in you. This great individual was there in you. So, just share with us a little bit more of that journey of just moving on from that space that you were in, and how did it get so deep? In a month's time, you went from playing in a football team where you could have said, look, let's go all out. After this guy's died, it's taught me a lesson. I'm just going to go 100% in football. Why didn't you make that decision? What was going through your head?
Because literally a day after my friend's been killed, 2 or 3 days later, there's been a revenge killing. And I've been arrested for that revenge killing. It had nothing to do with me. But it's an incident where then a 15-year-old boy was shot in his bed in a case of mistaken identity. And after that, sort of heat's everywhere. I've been arrested for that. Then I've been arrested for the robberies that I was doing, the security van robberies. And then I got the bail. But by this time now, I'm making so much money doing these cash box robberies. so creative and robberies, that instead of just calling off after my friends being killed and there's an incident where a young person's being killed, the money is just so alluring. So I'm still doing cash boxes. And then I think, memory serves me right, I think it was 13th of March, 2007, we robbed £27,000 from Rains Park train station in near Wimbledon. Then we got arrested. And I remember going into prison crying, like, oh my God, what have I made of my life? Like, I'm actually going to prison now. This is crazy, this is ridiculous. That it's mental. I would have never thought I'd be the person to go to jail. In school, I was in the top set. I was in the top set in school with all the most intelligent people in school. I went to college to do 3 or 4 A-levels. What am I doing in prison? And then again, it was just the things that were alluring, the financial implications that were...
What was you doing with the money? What did you want?
We did stupid stuff, like we'll go and buy, I don't drink, but we'll go clubbing and buy champagne bottles, loads of champagne bottles, just for the image. And these I don't even drink, I might have a swig and then give the bottle to everyone else. And then buying cars, jewelry, and then you want to play the part so people think, yeah, these are the in guys. I wasn't saving my money. It was basically living day to day by, okay, we're gonna rob a cash box today, there'll be 20 grand, my cut will be 6 grand, 5 grand. Next thing I'm in Selfridges, spend all the money. Oh, don't worry, I've got new outfits, but next week I'll do another cash box robbery.
There you go, I was gonna say that, because we was going through that cycle ourselves on the road, just thinking, okay, we made some money today, 3, 4 bags, next minute, end of the week, it's done.
Yeah.
What have we got? Clothes on our back, bag of green that we're bunning, what's the future hold?
Yeah.
You gotta be going on this cycle, isn't it?
And then you just wasn't thinking, and at one point I started saving and said, okay, once I reach a certain amount, I'm stopping. You reach that certain amount, you go, oh, okay, when I reach this certain amount, I'm stopping. You reach that, and in the end, all that's happening, police are building their profile against you, realizing who's doing these things, they're building evidence against you, and that's what that happens. So it ended with me spending 8 years of my life in jail. So from age 20 all the way through to 28, it's spent in prison.
Wow, bro. Take me through that. So when youths who think that it's a big deal going jail can actually hear the reality of what you got to deal with in jail, Bobby. Break it down, King.
Like, these kids need to understand the violence that is in jail, especially young offenders jail, especially places like Feltham, HMP, ISIS. Like, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but I got this in jail, like where I got the slit in my eye there.
Yeah.
And my problem is, like I said at the beginning, I'm always that person with a conscience, right? I'm always that person with a conscience. If I was doing some badness, I was that person with a conscience. Now, when I'm in prison, I don't like seeing bullying. I'm that person like, oh, you man, I lie, man.
Yeah.
You man. And then what that does, it brings conflict with other people. So if you're in prison with me and you're trying to rob this guy for his PlayStation, and I'm like, nah, allow it, man. Stop it, no, you can't do that. Now you got conflict with me because now I'm stopping you from doing what you're doing. So I found myself getting to a lot of incidents like that.
Gotcha.
Where with that, why is this guy always getting involved? It's got nothing to do with you. To the point that where I remember buying a phone from someone, they tried to rob me. But like I said, when I was in prison, I was bulking up, so I was quite a big person. So I think I knew how to defend myself, I knew how to protect myself. So there's incidents in prison where I had to do what I had to do, right? But prison is tough. My daughter was born while I was in prison, so I missed out on a big part of her life. Big part of her life, right? It's only when I started getting my DCAT where I was allowed to go home from prison and then go back to prison, that's when you start building that relationship. But I missed out.
Who'd you miss, apart from your daughter being born in there? What was you missing while you
I miss my family, obviously. Like, just like, one thing that used to scare me the most was, what about if my parents pass? Because if my parents pass, the last memory they have of their child is in prison. Yeah. And that used to scare me the most.
Wow.
So, and then you miss the food, you miss relationships, you miss just kind of play football properly. I miss football massively. And that played a big part in what I do now in terms of starting Hackney Wick Football Club. Right? But I miss all these just normal things you can do, just like today's a sunny day.
Yeah.
A beautiful day outside. Just walking out, enjoying the fresh air. Simple things like that, the simplest of things like that, you can't just do.
Wow. What did you hate? Like, I hate this, bro, being in there.
time going and feel myself like, I'm wasting my 20s. 20s when you kind of make your life. And I'm wasting my 20s. I used to hate it. And then I'll see people who like maybe in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or this is my 8th time major, this is my 9th time major. And that just put me off. I'm like, you're even proud to tell me that. I just hated that fact. And then I also hated the fact I was seeing so many young people, as I started getting older within the system, seeing so many young people come in without no direction. Brilliant footballers, amazing footballers. I'm like, right, you're better than who I was. I used to tell a lie. I never used to tell people they're better than me, to be fair. But I used to like, you're very good at football. Like, what happened? I said, why didn't you play semi-pro at least? They're like, what is semi-pro?
What is semi-pro?
They're like, what's semi-pro football? I'm like, well, you know about semi-pro football? No. Oh, we have to be a professional. I don't know. I said, you can make a living playing semi-pro football while still having a career doing other things. Yeah. That's when the light bulb hit me. There were so many talented people in there who didn't know there was such a thing as semi-pro football. I said, you know what? When I come out of prison, I'm going to create my own team. And we're going to do a semi-pro team that's going to give the young people in our area a chance to be seen, a chance to play. Because what happens is this, right? Me, I was 20 when I was playing for Ashford Town Middlesex. So I was one of a few young people in that team. A lot of times, those teams, semi-pro teams, they go for older players. So I said, no, I'm going to start a team that's going to give a platform to just young players.
Did this just come into you? Did this just come into your spirit?
No, I was also studying. I was doing a degree in criminology and social policy while I was in prison.
Boom. Education lighted up your mind.
Yeah.
So when we're trying to run from education and, oh, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, but educate yourself in the areas that you want to educate yourself. And what did you want to do?
So I wanted to understand why I was in prison.
Brilliant.
Because, like I said, I was always quite intelligent. I was in a top sit in school. I had a conscience. So what was leading me to feel so led by peer pressure that allowed me to do other things that was not me? So I wanted to learn about it. So understanding criminology and social policy and the psychology of that was what, and while doing that, I looked at the things of inequality, lack of opportunities, parents' household incomes, peer pressure, where you live, all these things. And again, that's not to take away to the fact that it was my decision, because there's many people who came from that same place as I did, who didn't choose that life.
Yeah, but let's still talk about the factors that are contributing.
Those are the factors that contribute. So I wanted to learn that. So when I saw these young people come in and tell me, I didn't know there was anything like semi-pro football. I'm like, no one told you about these opportunities. No one told you can earn £200, £300 a week playing semi-pro while having another job that pays you maybe £800 a month. So all that together gives you a bit of a yearly salary. So I said, I'm gonna try and do this when I get out. Everyone's in jail like, oh, come on, man. You think you can just come out, own a football club and create a football club? I'm like, I'm gonna do it. You guys what? And what I love is that so many people doubted me, and them same people like messaged me now and say, bro, you know what? Hats off to you. Because when I was in jail, you used to talk a lot about what you were gonna do, you're gonna do that. We didn't believe it, but you went and done it.
Do you know what, yeah? I love this section, but I just want to go back and talk about, because I imagine going to jail, and I imagine the little things that I would hate. Who's coming in my cell to share my cell with me?
Oh yeah, I mean,
the toilet's right over there.
Yeah.
Him shitting and stinking out the whole cell.
When I was in Belmarsh was the worst, because Belmarsh is 3-man bang up. And because Belmarsh is a double A cat, which is sort of for hardened criminals and terrorists and murders and so on, when you're there, it's like the regime is strict. You're always in your cell, except for when you have to you got 1 hour association during the day, but then you're banged up with 3 people. So there's 3 of you guys, so there's 3 personalities, 3 people who like to do things 3 different ways.
Hurting individuals.
Yeah, so like it'll get annoying sometimes, it'll get frustrating sometimes. I mean, we was banged up with a guy who was a lifer. You received 24 years. And we want to be in bed by 11, 12 o'clock, I'm tired, I want to go to bed. This guy would want us to talk until 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. But I realized what it was. He's got 24 years to go. We're going to be out in a few years. Him closing his eyes at night and sleeping, he has to think about how long he has to do. That's why he wants us to keep talking. That's why he wants us to keep having and just be fun. But we're like, it's time to sleep now. He don't want to sleep.
Plus, was he in for murder and stuff?
He was in for murder, yeah.
Okay, so maybe the demons are troubling him, and
Yeah.
he can't.
Yeah.
He ain't got no peace, because a certain man showed me, like, you know, their mind gets messed up. They
Yeah.
can't sleep properly.
Of course, it would be like that. You'll be thinking about what you've done, and like seeing grown men cry is one of the sort of humblest thing you ever see. Like seeing sort of big gangsters crying because they've got these sort of times. And like, I mean, talk about the things that you hated. I hated when my family had to come into prison and then they're being patted down. And I remember my partner at the time was saying that she didn't like the way that the security are all frisking her. So things like that. I've put my family through that. Through them feeling like they're being violated by the security. So I used to hate that. And then also hate seeing them leave because they're there for an hour and then they have to leave. So those are the sort of things that you think to yourself like, whoa. And then you're seeing people, everyone just getting on with their life. Everyone just, you call people, call me later. No letters, no money. So in jail, ultimately, I started my own casino and betting shop in jail. And that's what financed me for the 8 years I was in prison. Basically, I've always had entrepreneurial spirit.
So you weren't getting that help from the outside?
Everyone that helped on the outside, when it came to me being on the inside, it's all gone. So that's what another thing these young people need to understand. The people that you think is going to be there while you're in prison are not going to be there.
Yeah. Wow. Real talk. You're on your own.
On your own.
You create this situation, it's survival.
And it's selfish as well for you to expect your family to travel every single week. Especially if you go to a far jail. You want them to go and pay £50, £60 per person to travel to Huddersfield for a train ticket and back, or whatever prison you are, and then buy you food while you're over there as well, and do that every single week. That means their whole weekend is now spent just coming to see you when they can do their own stuff on the weekends. It's very when we're in prison, we're very selfish. We don't think about what people are going through on the outside either as well. So,
it's all about you and that you're away and what everyone can do to make your time easier. Wow. It's a painful time, but I hear young people trying to use it and get gassed by it. As you said, they come out talking, but it's not the truth, is it?
It's not the truth. A lot of them, like, they come out, I'm in prison, they do videos. Like I said with the guy I mentioned earlier, when it's time to close your eyes and it's all silent, it's only you and your thoughts. That's the saddest moment. That's when you really feel it. I remember when I was in HMP Feltham and it's nighttime and then you can see the airplanes going past because it's right near Heathrow, Feltham, right? So you're thinking, where's that plane going to? Who can be on that plane? So you have those sort of thoughts, I can't wait till I'm out. So all this bravado and persona people put like, prison's mine. No, it affects you and it affects you further on down the line as well.
Wow. Bro, what do the prisoners really want? You know, what did you, even though you was in this place, where was your mind really? Because I think that's important because we're talking about the prison.
Yeah.
I think it's the imprisonment of the mind. It's the mind that keeps making them go back. The mind that keeps going through this cycle.
Yeah.
And unless that's broken and you begin to think different like you did be. So with these prisoners inside, what's keeping their mindset, what's keeping their mindset in the same place?
I think it depends on the person. Like me, like I said, I was always in the top set in school. So I was like, I'm not gonna sit here and do nothing. I'm gonna treat this place as university. I'm gonna go and get my degree. I said, I'm gonna write books. So I wrote 2 books which I published myself while being in prison. So I said I was gonna do that. So I said, cool.
Tell us about the books, man.
So basically, it's based, like I said, I got arrested for that murder of the 15-year-old. It had nothing to do with me. But
what's the book called?
The Life I Lived, Not the Life I Chose. So there's part 1 and part 2. So I've done 2.
The Life I Lived and the Life I Chose.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
part 1 and part 2. Where can we get this?
It's on Amazon. So Amazon.
Beautiful. Get Bobby's book, man.
Yeah. So everyone will tell you, this guy is so annoying. Because I'll talk continuously. I was manifesting it. I said, guys, when I come out, I'm gonna release my books. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this football thing. And like people.
Powers.
I was saying, I'm gonna do this. People love basically, I started a betting shop basically. So I knew people wanted to place football bets. Now I can't give you the odds that Man United are gonna give you, that Ladbrokes or William Hill are gonna give you. Yeah. But I'm gonna give you the odds according to what I can afford.
Yeah.
So if I got
Belmarsh odds.
Yeah, basically. And we have a joke. We called it Ladbrokes instead of Ladbrokes.
Yeah,
and there's another one.
Ladbrokes.
There's another one I called it as well. I forgot. But anyway, the whole thing was, you know what? was that I'm gonna do what I can in here and survive to also prevail when I'm released, because the statistics of people going in prison and coming straight back in is big, because people don't think or plan or have direction of what they want to do once they're out. So I was planning from the very get-go of me being in prison. So I just remember coming and doing the football bets, and if I got 50 people coming to place a bet, if one person wins, that's cool, because the other 49 people will cover them, so no money was ever coming in my pocket. And then I had the blackjack 21 table going as well. That was very lucrative, and that helped me sort of pay for stuff even on the outside for family and so on. But once you're released, you're into the real world now. It's like, okay, you had that bubble of everything's looked after while you're in jail. You're getting 3 meals a day, you got electric, you got gas, you got heating, you got water.
So there is an advantage in a way then?
I wouldn't say it's an advantage, because you're in there and it allows you maybe not to have these expenses, but as a grown adult, you have to realize as a man, first and foremost, you have to pay these things. You can't rely just on the state for you to be on handouts, because that's what prison's handouts basically. It's like you're just being on benefits. So as a man, I couldn't allow myself, okay, just sit here and do nothing upon release.
That's a poor mentality that we hear from prisoners who say, at least I get somewhere to sleep and 3 square meals.
Yeah, no, that's a poor mentality. That's someone with no ambition. That's someone that doesn't want to better themselves. And for me, there was always, you know what? My dad was a very rich person back home in Congo. He had lots of money. He lost it all. Yeah, he lost it all. But I remember growing up, like, he was like a hero. Like, this guy's got so much money. Remember, I mean, I came to this country when I was 3 years old, but I remember he was in the latest cars. We used to get security to drop us everywhere. And then I think the year 2000 or so, by the time I was already in the UK, he lost all his money, right? And it was a thing that where I loved his ambition and mentality he had as a young age, because he bought he still owned 2 huge compounds back home in Congo. People actually want to sort of buy it now from him, right? But he always told me a story that he accomplished all those things by the time he was 21. He was 21 when he done all those things. He's now 75, 76 now, and he's pushing on in age, right? But he's someone that sort of motivated me, and my mum as well is someone that's always been sort of the wheeler dealer sort of woman, where like she should sell clothes, she should sell food and so on. So that's where I get my ambition from. So I can't just come out of prison and say, okay, that's it, let me just rely on other people. I have to work. I have to work.
Brilliant, brother. And we have all got within us the gifts that we can use to create revenue. Because as you said, your mum just done what came natural to her. I can cook, so let me cook some stuff, sell it. I can, make a dress and do that. Let me sew, so revenue's coming in. I think that we've been trained to think a certain way.
I mean, I'll give you the clearest example. I started another business just last year from scratch, right? We're in lockdown. So I put up a photo of Congolese food, right? I said, man, I need to go to my mum to get this food. I've got quite a big following. So people are like, what food is that? The people who are from my country, they're like, oh yeah, taba, which is barbecue goat. Oh yeah, I need this, I need that. And other people are like, what is that? It looks nice. I said, you know what, guys? I'm gonna get my mum to make it this weekend, and I'm gonna come and sell it. Whoever wants to DM me. I had so many requests. Then I'm recording everyone that I'm delivering it to. And then after that, celebrities are requesting it too. And then from the back of that, it just went crazy. And from that, it's established itself into a business. And now I'm even thinking to open up a spot.
Excellent.
So it just shows how quickly you can create things out of the blue.
Out of the blue, brother. It's just that drive to act and move upon it. Yeah? And this is what a lot of the young people, I think we've been conditioned to think if we don't get certain exam results, if we aren't that smart kid, then that means we're a roadman. It's like there's only 2 roads you can go.
And when you think about it as well, is that education is very important, right? But education is only important for knowledge. Unless you're going to be an accountant, of course you need maths and so on, right?
Correct.
But a lot of times, a lot of the things that we use in our everyday life is not things we learn from school.
Exactly, but school doesn't prepare you for everyday life.
Yeah.
I was telling my son the other day, now you finish school, son. Now you're going to start education.
Yeah.
Now your education begins. Because now you start gaining the tools for life that's going to allow you to move forward and be productive.
Yeah.
And inside of you is a gift that you have to learn how to utilize that and create a revenue through that.
100%. And then, like I said, with everything, like even with Hackney Wick Football Club, to say we are a black-owned semi-professional football club in the UK is amazing for me. And that's one of the things that it came out of nothing really. It came out of nowhere. It came out with me saying, you know what, I'm gonna do this football club. We started off as an amateur club. We was literally with buckets outside of Tesco's, outside of Sainsbury's, fundraising, say donate to our football club.
Wow.
People are telling me like, what are you doing? What are you out here on the streets asking people to give you money? Like, you're Bobby sort of thing. Like, you know you from road. Like, I'm like, I have a vision. I'll take the embarrassment of being out on road with my bucket because there's a longer, greater vision that I'm trying to pursue. And you guys won't know it right now, but just by being out there, you meet people. Someone go past, oh, all right, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm from Nike, take my card. Oh, wait, what's this, a new football club? Okay, oh, I'm from BT Sports, take my card. Just by me being out on that street, the people don't realize what opportunities come with you thinking outside the blocks and doing things differently. And through the back of that, we are now a semi-professional football club. We're playing the FA Cup, we're playing the FA Vars. We have 17 teams, boys teams, women's team, girls team, a men's team. We're sponsored by the biggest sports brand in the world, Nike. Like, we've got sponsors coming everywhere trying to support us. We create initiatives, we're giving people jobs. And this has all happened in the space of, I came out of jail 24th February 2015. I've only been out of jail 6 years now.
Amazing.
So it just shows there is so much you can do if you have a focus and put your mind to it, but also set yourself realistic goals, realistic targets. That's the main thing. And I just want young people to understand and I feel bad sometimes because I get inundated with messages and I can't respond to every single message. But it'd be like, yo, I love what you're doing. I want to try to do this. I saw you on this podcast. Can you give me support in this? And like, mate, I wish I can give you the time and support, but believe in what you're doing. I believe in you. Go ahead and just keep cracking on, open doors, network. That's the main thing. It's who you know sometimes as well. And just by being out there, you help meet people. So
you're trying to just let people know that it's already in you.
Yeah.
What was it that done it for you? Was it your self-belief, Bobby?
Yes, I think self-belief, self-confidence, and also initially my daughter, my firstborn, at that point my secondborn's only 3, so she wasn't born yet, but my firstborn was like knowing the responsibility of a father, knowing what you're supposed to do as a father, as a man, to be able to give, to be able to support, to be able to give her the best of life that you can afford to. Because one of the things, the situation that we see with many of our young people, unfortunately, is that, like you said, many of our young women and young men are born in fatherless homes where the father's not around. And now that's not to say that people with fatherless homes can't go and succeed. We've seen many of them go and succeed. But it's always an advantage to have a unit, a family unit, where the father is in the household, the mother's in the household. There's 2 different kind of energies. And so for me, it was all about being able to be that person that can provide.
So you had that mindset, you had that vision for a dad. What was that? What did that involve?
It just knowing yourself. It's just like seeing how the feeling it gives you, right? When I see, like even this morning, it happens. I got up a little bit earlier this morning. I knew I was coming here, and I got a few other meetings I need to go to.
Yeah.
I've got up this morning and gone to make myself breakfast. Normally, sometimes I get up in the morning and go and lie on the sofa for a little while.
Okay.
And my 2-year-old would get out of the bed. If she sleeps in our bed, she'll get out of bed, comes to looks for me. And she just joins me for a cuddle on the sofa, and we watch her cartoons. And this morning she came out there. I could hear her coming out, but I wasn't in the sofa. I was in the kitchen. So she's kind of gone there and looked, and she couldn't see me. I said, Sarai, I'm in the kitchen, and she sort of came. So it's that feeling that gives me that thing. I want to give you the world because this is how much you mean to me, sort of thing. And then so it's a feeling that fatherhood gives me. That pushes me on,
So how come so many dads just relinquish that role as to not enjoy that experience? Hasn't it changed, molded and matured you as a man?
Yeah, I think a lot of it sometimes comes to embarrassment, shame for a lot of these guys, and also rejection. So for example, if they're no longer with their partner and they want to pursue that relationship, the partner doesn't want to, there's that, oh, well, if you're going to reject me, then I'm not going to be involved in it's that spitefulness. And there's also 100%. What I find with a lot of people that used to be in my situation in terms of going to jail and so on, coming out now, is that you used to make all this money, you've come out now, and you're not got the finances that you had, or you're not in the place you are. So when the mother of your child is asking you and saying, look, I need £200 this month to help pay the bills, help that, and you've not got that, instead of you kind of being honest and saying, you know what, I've not got that, you know, but I'm working towards it, or I'm doing this. It's that shame. Oh, why are you always calling me for money? Why are you asking me for money? I see it happen with a lot of people. It's that shame and embarrassment. And don't get me wrong, even if you're truthful and say, you know what, yeah, I've not got it, don't just say I've not got it and say you're not having it forever. Because after what, if I ask you, if she asks you this month, ask you next month, ask you for 6 months in a row, you never have it. But at the same time, you got money to buy weed. You got money to go clubbing. How come you're in a new outfit? But your child's mother's asking you for things to pay and you can't do that? No, you're choosing not to, because it's the shame and embarrassment of how maybe sometimes she may speak to you. So I do ask women sometimes be patient with the guy. But if he's not showing no way of trying to support you, then of course do what you need to do. But for me, men who don't play a part in a children's life, for me, you're not a man. You're not a man. Even if you can't afford to do things, take them to the park. Go and get them. Don't get me wrong, there's some mums who are like, well, if you don't give me money, you can't see your kids. And I don't like that either.
Yeah, we can't, that's out of our control.
Yeah.
But what's in your control?
What's in your control
is to be there for your children.
100%.
And I think every dad can take responsibility for that and be there, even if he hasn't got nothing.
Yeah.
It's you, your child.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of people go, oh no, I need to pay to take a cinema. No. Go to Tesco, buy a picnic, sit in the park, bring a football. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, my life was all about just growing with my kids, whether I had anything or not. There's times I didn't have a pot to piss in, bruv. But you sure see me with my children.
100%.
Because that was the joy. That's the joy of my life. It's been an absolute joy sitting down, talking to you about this journey and talking to you about how you managed to have the mindset and the focus to come out when so many fall at the wayside. It's a massive test, Bobby, when you come out, because it's so tempting to get called out and get drawn back into that road. Was it your blinkers on vision that made you not go back into that lifestyle? Because this is something we got to talk about. Yeah. Because there's enough man out there struggling to break the cycle. How do they break the cycle, B?
I mean, I could have come out of jail and tell someone, yo, give me some drugs to go and sell. Give me, you got links and connection. Yeah. But it's that, I remember watching, what's the film? The American Gangster. Okay. And I remember the guy told Denzel Washington in the film, quitting while you're ahead is not the same as quitting. A lot of people don't quit while they're ahead. Wow. They quit when they're forced to quit. That means by the police shutting you down and getting arrested. And I remember someone told me a quote, doing what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. So I said to myself, if I'm gonna come out and go back to the same lifestyle, I'm gonna be back in jail within a year. Boom. So for me, it was like, you know what, I can't look at my man there, he's got new trainers, he's got the new Nikes, he's got the new car, he's out there. I said, I can't even be like that no more. I have to be tunnel vision. I remember when I was in jail, you guys didn't send me money. So why am I gonna come out now and try to flex with you guys and do that? You didn't give me any money, so why am I gonna come and do it? So I'm gonna be focused and just, I can't see you, my blinkers are on. So it's 4 years of struggling. 4 years of struggling. But at the same time, 4 years of struggling, but making it look good. Making it look like, okay, cool, we don't need anything, we're gonna do what we need to do. To the point that now, eyes are watching. I always tell people, nothing goes unnoticed. You're putting that work and you're putting positivity in the world, people are watching. So through the back of that, you got the BT Sports calling you, you got the Nikes calling you, you got the Netflix calling you, got all these people calling because they know we see what you're doing, we're gonna support that. So it's about having that long-term vision and not watching out for any distractions.
Beautiful, bruv. I'm hearing that it's not all about the money then. No. That's not the goal.
No. It's what makes you feel good. I feel good in what I do. I don't feel like I work. I don't feel like it's work because I'm changing people's lives through them coming and playing football with my team. But you don't just come and play football. You need a job. Okay, what kind of job are you looking for? Yeah. Okay, let's see what we can do. Let me see who I can call. There you go. Okay, they can't give you the job, but they say go and do 2 weeks work experience. Now you got the experience. So when you got to apply for a job that way, I worked 2 weeks over here. Or maybe it's like, oh yeah, they've got this job, they want you to do a 1 month trial. Oh, you want to go to education? So these are the sort of things that we are trying to do. Give them just these opportunities that they wouldn't have.
That's excellent, Bobby. And I want us to be doing some work together.
100%.
Where we've got links as well, getting youths into courses, work, shops, jobs, employment, entrepreneur training. We're able to do that as well. So please,
No, 100%.
let's utilize each other and move forward, man. You know, listen, today, guys, I've had an awesome pleasure of being with a fantastic role model to communities. Often we hear that, you know, there's not enough role models. There is. And on this platform, the Dr. Prince Show, we're gonna get role model after role model. Why? Because it's about the journey. All of our journeys are of great value. Your life is of great value. And your past, as we've seen with Bobby, does not define your future. You create that and do it the way that Bobby's done his life. So proud of you, King.
Appreciate it, bro.
Much love to you, my brother. Good to have you on.